If you clicked on this video, chances are you feel empty inside. You feel some kind of blandness to life. Like it does not have that spice or that zest, that feeling that really makes you feel alive, especially in comparison to how you probably felt when you were a kid, when life felt so real. Every emotion you felt so strong. The best way I could describe it to you is life as a kid kind of feels like when your mom makes you a sandwich. She makes you a sandwich with the exact same ingredients that you probably make it with, but something about it just has a little bit of soul to it. It just tastes super good when you take a bite into it. It's got that spice, and you try to replicate it with the same exact ingredients. You make the same sandwich, but when you taste it, it's like, it's not necessarily a bad sandwich, but it's just not a great sandwich, and it's just kind of, feels kind of bland, kind of basic. That's how a lot of people I know, including myself, felt about life. It's just super bland, super lame, super desensitized. Nothing feels real anymore. There's a few different culprits for it, but today I'm going to tell you exactly why that's happening, and I'm going to give you ways that you're going to completely flip that around. So life is slowly but surely going to start to feel real again, and you're actually going to feel alive after many, many years of just feeling desensitized. The main problem and the main reason you're feeling this way is because you have lost your presence. So all being present means is that you're focused on the given time. Whatever moment it is currently, that's what you're focused on. So if you're talking to someone, that's the only thing you're focused on. You're not thinking about some random stupid shit. You're not thinking about something that you're worried about. You're not thinking about like a TikTok you just saw. You're just present in the moment, and you're really enjoying the moment. You're just locked in. Your mind is clear, and you're only focused on whatever it is that you're supposed to be focused on. Now, honestly, the main reason that your presence is so gone nowadays is mainly because of social media and all these short form platforms such as TikTok, Instagram Reels, YouTube Shorts, all of that. It basically desensitizes you to anything because you're just so, your dopamine receptors are so fried. You're constantly getting so much information bottled into such a short period of time. Like, for example, you could find out something that usually would have taken you 30 minutes to read on a news article or watching a news channel. You would have seen something on the news. Takes about 30 minutes to get all that information. Now you can process it in 30 seconds on a TikTok. And in reality, you're not even going to see those 30 seconds on the TikTok. You're going to see about 10 to 12 seconds of that. So just think about all that information crammed into it, and you're repeating that about 50 times because usually you're probably on TikTok. You're scrolling around 50 times before you get bored, and then you hop off the app. All that information crammed nowadays in your mind is scattered everywhere because it's not used to processing all that. You never fully process what you're watching. Your mind doesn't have time to process all that because you're scrolling in it so quickly. And because of that, you're never present. Your mind is elsewhere. It's either in the past, in the future, thinking about some other stuff. My boy Lau actually has a very good quote on this, and it goes something along the lines of, if you're depressed, you're living in the past. If you're anxious, you are living in the future. If you're at peace, you are living in the present. So one of the reasons why a lot of people are constantly anxious, they're constantly depressed, they're dwelling elsewhere instead of in the present time. I'm going to give you some examples, and I'm going to show you exactly how to gain your presence back so your life will have that zest again. Because life is fucking beautiful when you actually are present in the moment. And because you're so desensitized to everything, and all desensitized means is you don't have that same sensitivity for something. So for example, all these things that used to give you so much pleasure, like jumping in a puddle, just chilling and checking out all the cool little shapes. Even you could just look at your hand back when you were little, and you'd kind of see the little lines on your fingers, the little shapes, and you get entertained by that because you're like, whoa, it's kind of neat. Look at the leaves outside, they got cool patterns. Most random stuff would bring you joy, where now even some of the most complex and cool video games don't even, you're like, whatever, I'd rather be scrolling on TikTok because you're desensitized. But by bringing back your presence, you're going to have that joy for life, and that zest, that spice is going to be back. It's going to be brought back into your life, and it's something beautiful. Let me give you a quick story. Basically, when I was around 16, that's really when TikTok first started to come out. I'm sure you guys probably remember it was like sometime around 2019, 2020. And before that, short form platforms weren't very common. People back then used to watch full length 10-minute, 15-minute, 20-minute YouTube videos, and that was kind of about as short form platform as it would get. So once that came out, I did notice that I would just constantly be on TikTok. I'd be scrolling, I'd be scrolling, I'd be scrolling. And it became a very bad habit that I just recently actually started to break. Like, that's just how long it took me to realize, yo, this stuff is ruining my life. So I'd just be scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. And I mean, I guess at the time, people weren't really thinking too much about it. They're just scrolling. And if you pay attention, once those short form platforms really came out, that's when stuff started to really start to get kind of messed up. People start getting all their news from this stuff. They start getting a lot more anxious. We're all locked inside. So obviously I was just scrolling, 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 and it would cause a lot of problems for me because I'm sure you probably had something similar happen to you, but I would just wake up, straight be on TikTok, process so much random stuff that by the time I got up after like 30 minutes, you get like that screen high, you're too overloaded, you just walk out of bed, you're like that. But I was obviously so addicted to my phone, I would just be like scrolling as I'm brushing my teeth. I'd usually play like a YouTube video and just I'd play a YouTube video and just watch it as I'm like showering. So obviously in your mind, I was probably watching some kind of like self-improvement or self-help videos, trying to convince myself why it was actually productive. But in reality, I was focused on a million different things and I didn't focus on any single thing for real. Obviously, this caused a lot of problems because number one, my teenage years passed by, they flew by, and I was on my phone most of the time. I would get relationship problems because I'd always be on my phone, not really caring too much about it. It desensitized me to a lot of things because since I'm constantly scrolling, hearing about all this information, I never really sat down to process any of the thoughts I had. Because I didn't process any of the thoughts I have, they were just kind of lingering in my mind, and I never fully thought about anything, if that makes sense. I was like I'm kind of like a weird zombie, like a dumb zombie. I'm sure a lot of people get that nowadays, which is why you kind of like no one really thinks clearly nowadays. I mean, the people that are off social media and off these short form platforms, most of them do think clearly, but the masses that's, have all these phone addictions, they can't think clearly because they never just shut up. And because you never shut up or like be off your phone and let just be quiet and silence and let your real thoughts come out, that's what causes a lot of these problems. So once I actually became aware that that was a problem, that's when life started to get good again because life was starting to get so boring, so bland. I was kind of socially awkward when I was outside, which is not normal. I'm not normally a socially awkward person. That definitely took a huge toll. As soon as I did become conscious about it, which sadly enough wasn't until a few months ago, and actually started implementing, I realized how much better life is. Like, I just get so much joy. I'm not always happy because you're not meant to always be happy as a human. But when I am happy, I feel every emotion so much more powerfully and it just feels so much more real. Like, you just get such a joy for life. And I'm honestly very excited because I'm starting to barely program my mind and getting it back to how it should be instead of always chasing this dopamine of scrolling on TikTok and YouTube and all these short form platforms that make a lot of money from you, just checking it out and being on there. How it happened to me messed up a lot of relationships, not just with like partners, but just with friends, coworkers, jobs. I mean, I wasn't thinking clearly. I was just consumed by all of it, just like a lot of people are nowadays. I'll tell you exactly what helped me kind of snap out of it and some of the tips and hacks that I've been using because it's a bit of a mindset shift, but there's actionable steps that you can do, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. Number one thing that's obviously going to help is just stay off social media as much as possible, which I know is easier said than done. Now I've kind of resorted to mainly just posting on social media and staying off of it as much as possible. Number one, by not being on these short form platforms, you don't have all this stupid garbage to worry about. Because you don't have all this stupid garbage to worry about, your mind can actually focus on whatever it is you want to focus on. You'll start to get a lot more of your real thoughts. You're not going to have all these short form platforms just bombarding your mind with dumb stuff. Honestly, I would rather you just sit in silence and think about whatever you want than be on social media and scrolling. Because every time you scroll, you are decreasing your attention span and filling up your mind with junk. Start to read books instead on your free time. Start to just talk to yourself, just be in silence, think about what it is, do what you have to do, because chances are you have a lot of things you have to do, and instead you're just on your phone. So it's going to take a little bit of work, but with time, just remind yourself every time you scroll on social media, that is time of your life that you're not really living. Think of yourself as like a character in a movie. Your movie can be whatever you want. It could be a romantic movie, an action movie, a deep philosophical movie, whatever you want. It could be a comedy, right? The movie's going to be lame as heck if all you do is just scroll on your phone and just scroll and scroll. That's no way to live. What kind of movie is that? That's lame. That's not real life. So every time you just catch yourself scrolling, be like, yo, wait, I remember Israel said that's not real life, because it's not. And then just get off your phone and then go out and do real life shit. Even if it's just thinking, sitting, and doing nothing. Over time, you're going to be so bored, you're going to want to go and do something. But you're not going to be bored enough to go and want to do something if you're entertained by social media. So just keep that in mind. Every time you're on your phone, this ain't living, this is pretty lame, boom, put the phone down, go do something for real. By doing that, your life is going to improve so much. Like, I guarantee you, just by not being on these short form platforms, it's going to improve so much, and just staying off your phone in general. Now, it's going to sound counterintuitive, but I'd even rather you watch movies, like full-length movies, if you're that badly addicted, because at least with full-length movies, it's going to help your attention span still stay long, as long as you're not watching or being on your phone while doing it, and you just focus truly on the movie. The other thing that you're going to do, I want you to do this every single day, and it's going to help you with your attention span, and that is to meditate. And I know it sounds overrated. You've heard it a million times, people telling you to meditate, but I'm going to explain to you why meditation is so important, it's so useful, and how it's actually going to help you out in life. Because people just say like meditate, and they don't explain what it does for you really. They just say it clears your mind. I'm like, bro, that could mean anything. What do you mean clears your mind? So I'm going to tell you what it means, and I'm going to give you 2 ways you can meditate, which I've done that helped me out, and it's helped me deeply improve my focus and just be present in life. And meditation is good is because number one thing it's going to help is it's going to help you be able to focus onto things for longer. It's going to help you in a lot of ways, because some of the best ways when you conversate with people is by actually being present. By being present and not being distracted by a bunch of things, you can now focus on things for longer. This is going to help you get paid more, lead to better relationships, better friendships, and you're not going to have your brain scattered everywhere, so everything is going to feel that much more real, and you'll be that much more productive. That's one thing it does. It helps you focus, which people can't do nowadays. The second thing it's going to do is it's going to clear your mind. Now, I know you said like earlier, people say clear your mind, but like I mentioned earlier, your mind is scattered. You're thinking about a bunch of stupid shit, and it sounds noisy. That's why people say, I can't focus, my mind, there's so much noise in my mind, all these demons in my head, just corny shit like that. And it's because all these, like I mentioned earlier, TikToks, all this stuff, you have so much information jammed in there. So this form of meditation is going to help. Think of it like clearing the cache off your phone, or like clearing out like a file. You're just removing the trash, now it's clear. That's what meditation is going to do for you. It's going to clear all those thoughts. 2 ways that you're going to meditate. I like to do these, and I alternate them every day. So I'll do one form of it for about 6 minutes. I want to work it up more and more, but I do about 6 minutes, 7 minutes, and then the next day I'll do the other one. So the first one I like to do is basically close my eyes and I focus on my breath. So I'll breathe in, I'll breathe out. And the main thing is I just want to focus on my breath and clear my mind. Naturally, what your mind is going to do is it's going to start to wander, and that's normal. That's normal. So then you just simply bring your attention back to your breath. It doesn't have to be a breath. You can think about whatever you want. It could literally be something like this pen. You see this pen, you focus on this pen. Naturally, your mind is going to want to focus on something else, and you bring your attention back to the pen. That's 1 rep. As the more reps you keep doing it and you just keep focusing on that, your attention is just going to start to get better and refocus on what you have to focus on. And that's how that exercise helps you out. The other form of meditation I like to do is I just sit down, I close my eyes, put my timer on, think of myself as an observer, and I let my thoughts just kind of free flow. So thoughts will start to pop up. I don't fight the thoughts. I don't try to get rid of them. I just simply acknowledge the thought. Blank, this happened. Oh, okay. Acknowledge it. I fully process the thought, and then some other thought will come in, and I fully process it. And all I do is I just observe and let the thoughts come in and I process them. And by doing this, you fully process the thought, and now it can leave you alone, and it's not going to be on the back of your mind because you fully processed it. By doing this, your head and your mind and everything will start to clear up and help keep you in the present moment. So use all of these things that I just mentioned, and just trust me, it's going to be small over time. You're not going to notice one day and you're like, whoa, my life is awesome. No, it's not going to work like that. You do it slowly, and then over time, you're going to see that your life is really going to start to improve, and you're going to get that like lust for life again. It's going to be fucking amazing. You're going to really enjoy yourself, and you're going to feel so present and so full of life. You're going to feel every emotion a lot more because you will no longer be desensitized to all these random things. And it's going to feel very similar to when you were a kid or you took a bite out of your mom's food. Super flavorful, super, like there's some soul in there. And that's how your life is going to be once you start actually putting this stuff into action and shift your mindset. I hope this helps. Peace.